Hello and welcome back to Alleyway Conversations. Once again, I'm Andrew.
And he's also on the wrong side of the river.
I'm not Chris Farley.
No, I was going for the line from The Mummy, but
Oh.
yeah, it was the only Brendan Fraser line I could think of right off the top of my head. So
I mean, it could have been better.
yeah,
In case you can't tell, we're going to do a Brendan Fraser episode.
yeah, it's been a while since we did a really good actor spotlight, and The Whale just came out, so we were gonna watch that regardless. And after that, we were just like, well, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a marathon, and because you're a really big fan of Brendan Fraser, right?
I am. He was a huge part of, well, both of our childhoods.
Yeah, that's true. It is definitely one of those. He's definitely a big part of my childhood, as we'll find out later, especially a big part of my preteen adolescence era. We'll talk about that too.
But, I mean, and all in all, I don't think I've seen a single negative thing about him.
No. I've talked to people who are like, yeah, you know, he's an okay actor, but nobody's really been like, oh, screw that guy.
I mean, he's, like I said, extremely nice, seems to really care for people, and how dare they? The Mummy was an amazing movie, and I thought he was a great actor in it.
I've never really had anyone have anything negative to say about the Mummy movies, especially.
Well, we won't talk about the third one.
Other than the fact they were incredibly campy and cheesy, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like that's part of the fun.
Oh, yeah.
So
I always believe no matter what movie genre you go into, you have to take a little bit from other movie types. If you take a pure action movie and you do nothing but action tropes in it, you get like it came out in I think 2010 called The Ninja Warrior. It was a really cool movie.
Oh, are you talking about Ninja Assassins?
It could be, but the whole movie, he like his father was like the leader of an assassins guild of ninjas that trained way up in the mountains, and the only girl he ever loved grew up with him, and because she didn't want to be an assassin, they killed her. And because of that, he rebelled, tried to live a normal life. They hunted him down, and he ended up killing everybody. It was a really action-packed. It was well shot and utterly forgettable. You watch it once, you never have to watch it again.
Yeah.
There's no reason to watch it again. It was a great movie for an action movie, but that's all it was. It was a hack and slash action movie.
Yeah. You definitely get elements of that in The Mummy, which is kind of strange because up until this point, every iteration of anything called The Mummy was always a horror movie.
But this one was action, adventure, horror, comedy, romance.
Yeah,
it was a great all-around
honestly,
movie.
I would not call it a horror movie in any extent.
They had a couple of jump scares, like when the mummy first comes to life. That was okay, maybe it wouldn't be a horror movie so much as like a gross out movie. I'm sorry. I've just seen the guy. He ripped out my eyes. Oh yeah, that's I feel bad for you, dude.
Yeah.
At least when you see the mummy kill that one guy, it's like he just sucks all your innards out and you die within like a second. That seems a lot nicer.
I mean, that still tends to be a thing in action movies. Like the friggin' through the skirt crotch shot in RoboCop.
Oh.
Like, you're not necessarily grossed out, but you're like, oh, that's gotta hurt.
Oh, man. Thank God she was tall, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
And he wasn't.
Yeah.
That might have been a tricky shot otherwise.
Yeah, always in the 80s, they have the Mohawk bad guys, but who are never like the main villains. They're just some dicks who...
Well, let me ask you a question. Are they wearing all denim? Then they're not the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Never thought about that till just now.
Yeah.
So, I really liked The Mummy, and the fact that the second one came out, I think only 2 years later,
Yeah.
They
That was with the Skirpin King.
yeah, and they actually made everyone seem to grow up and mature a little bit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually felt like Evie, which I cannot remember the name of the woman who played Evie, but they got her a different hairstyle, a different wardrobe. I think they made her my God, she went from being a very good-looking woman to a very mature, just over-the-top gorgeous woman. She was on top of her field. She was intelligent. She was incredibly confident. Complete overhaul from what she did. And they really made it seem like 10 years had passed since the last movie.
Yeah.
And,
And sometimes he can do that just with acting. And I would say, really, the Mummy movies did really good in casting. They picked really good actors to play their respective roles.
oh yeah, the guy who played Imhotep and the guy who played the Magi guy, who actually got a name in the second movie. Not in the first, though.
Yeah. He had a name, but
I think even in the credits it was called the Magi.
yeah.
His name is Magi. No, that's the group of people he belongs to. He doesn't need a
The
name.
guy with the weird face tattoos and the dreamy eyes. You know the one.
Yeah, he was really good looking.
Yeah, like that is something that nobody really wants to point out, but the internet beat us to it. Like the Mummy movie, man, the casting was not only with really really good actors, but it was sexy. Like,
Oh yeah.
there wasn't a non-photogenic person among them, other than that one guy that reminds me of Bardock from Anastasia.
Oh, the fat
Benny.
prison warden.
No,
Oh.
I was talking about Benny.
I was talking about the prison warden.
Oh,
Remember
And,
him? He literally had the joy of being the first guy to die in the movie, or was that the three sand workers that got melted?
Oh yeah, the sand workers got melted. They were average looking though.
They were people, and they weren't in pants, so they obviously weren't important.
Yeah, well, once you start getting numbers onto your casting name, well,
I think Austin Powers
oh yeah,
said it really
you
well.
don't
Look
even
at-
have a name tag.
Come on, and then he just kind of lays down on the floor, pretends to be dead. There you go. That's a good lad.
That's right. God, I love Michael Caine. But yeah, no.
I really did enjoy the Mummy movies. They came out. I think the first one came out in 2001, so I was like 11.
Yeah.
A perfect time. It was just like I said. It wasn't
Yeah.
scary, but it had enough. Like I said, where the mummy pops out of the coffin and stuff. It was just scary
Yeah.
enough to be interesting to me. Then the action, and I'm
Yeah.
starting to become a teenager. It was really good.
It's definitely a family film in the sense you should maybe watch it with your parents just in case there's something kind of weird going on that you don't understand.
Which is great, because even in the first two movies,
And it's got plenty of like humor and stuff that I'm sure adults would appreciate.
yeah. And the nice thing is there's nothing in it that you can be embarrassed about watching it with your dad. There was like maybe a smooch in the first movie, and that was as gross as it got.
Oh yeah, like it did not get graphic in any way, other than maybe a little bit gory with the reanimation of the mummy. But at the same time, especially these days, like
That CGI was
Yeah. Like even as a child, I watched it and I'm like, that's not real though, so it doesn't really matter.
But it was still, like I said, I enjoyed the movie.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed everything about it.
Trust me, like I'm into B movies way too much to criticize a movie purely for special effects.
But growing up, I think that might have been one of the very first movies I saw Brendan Fraser in. I think that might have been the second movie I ever watched. The very first movie I ever saw with Brendan Fraser was George of the Jungle.
Yeah.
I remember getting a VHS at my house when I was like 6, and we watched it, and I loved it.
Yeah. George of the Jungle, we didn't actually watch that one, but at the same time, it was something that we watched a lot as kids, because I watched it a lot as a kid, too. I mean, it was really, really fun. It got me introduced into the comic the comic, the cartoon.
I was about to say, they made a Georgia Jungle comic book?
No, but they did have a Saturday morning cartoon, I believe sometime in the 70s. And really, I remember as a child, it didn't feel particularly dated.
Okay. Well,
he also did Dudley Do-Right, but I feel like that wasn't as good.
I'm sorry, I liked that movie too. I had forgotten about that
I
movie.
didn't hate it. I just, it wasn't as good as George of the Jungle.
No. I did enjoy it, but it was a lot more goofy. I thought they did Dick Dastardly, that was his name. I thought they did him quite well.
Yeah, I mean...
And when Dudley Do-Right went through his phase of getting fired and being really weird, I thought that was where he got really campy. Yeah. Then when he got a chainsaw and used it to trim hedges, and then the later half of the movie was much better.
Well, yeah, and it's especially, one of those things, kind of like with the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, that people need to check that out again. But it actually made you see the characters in a different way you hadn't before.
I've never seen that movie.
Again, I'm not gonna stick my neck out for the freaking Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, but I do feel like it's better than people give it credit for.
Kind of like the Green Lantern movie?
Yeah, exactly. You can put out criticisms, and you'd be right in criticizing, but it's got some good.
You've got to give at least some credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
And I love George of the Jungle. I mean, the talking apes. I don't remember this, but my mom was telling me how we got that movie. We actually didn't buy it. Back in the early 90s, do you remember in 2000 when there was that CD club you could join, and they'd send you CDs every month, and you could play the ones you like, and you'd keep those you liked, and you paid for them and send them back?
Yeah, that's how I got my copy of 9 Lives the first time.
Well, apparently they did the exact same thing for VHSs back in the early 90s.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, apparently it was 94, 95, somewhere around in there. Yeah. And they sent us 3 VHSs, and one of those was George of the Jungle. And I watched it so much that when it came time to send them back, apparently I ran off and hid it so they couldn't send it back. But as a 4-year-old, the only places I could think to hide it was either on top of my toy box or under my mattress. Who would ever think to look there if you had a child?
It's not as safe as you think it is. Trust me, kids.
Yeah. Although, if kids are listening to this, why? You need better supervision.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. We need more listeners.
Yeah, go watch some PewDiePie or something more...
Oh, God, no.
Wholesome.
Don't rot their brains that bad. Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gotta be better than anything we're saying, though.
Does it?
I mean...
Does it? It's PewDiePie, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Although we are kind of small bit. I think he could kill us if he wanted to. If he were to try from his ratings to crap on us, it would take about 3 days before we finally realized it landed.
I mean, to be fair, there was this one guy, Slow Beef. I think I mentioned him. He kind of invented Let's Plays. Mm-hmm. But he never really wanted to be like a YouTube superstar. Anyway, he made something called Retsupre, where he was making fun of a bunch of YouTubers. And, PewDiePie was one of them. And nothing really happened. Not really.
Is it because PewDiePie couldn't touch him, or he probably too busy sitting on top of his giant pile of ratings and just didn't care?
Yeah, that was probably what was going on. It was just some guys making fun of you on the internet. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over my millions of euros I have right here.
Wait, where does PewDiePie live if he has euros?
Sweden.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait, I was thinking of Markiplier.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I kind of like Markiplier, but that could just be because he's in Ninja Sex Party music videos.
Yeah.
That is kind of cool.
I don't know. I like his voice.
By the way, if you need a band to listen to, be at least 18 before you listen to NSP. For the love of God, I don't need to get sued.
No. Yeah, Danny Sexbang's pretty cool.
And Ninja Brian.
Yeah.
Turns out, I would have killed you, but Ninja Brian already did it. before you even started listening to the song.
Yeah.
That means you're a zombie. Now I'm scared for a whole other set of reasons.
It's technically the Manticore. They're two different characters. They're just both played by Brian Wecht, but whatever.
So,
moving on from that.
So the Mummy movies, George of the Jungle. So one of the movies, I think Encino Man, a great movie.
Yeah,
I think it was literally this. Oh, sorry.
That was probably something I didn't even realize was a Brendan Fraser movie.
I think it was the second movie he ever made, or at least according to IMDb. I think, if I remember correctly, it was something that I don't remember. Encino Man.
Yeah, and I watched it a lot with my mom as like a little kid, and then I watched it when I was like more of a teenager, just because it's a fun high school movie. And I was like, oh my god, it's George of the Jungle.
I
didn't quite make the connection that Samwise Baggins. That ain't right.
Gamgee.
Samwise Gamgee. Yeah.
Gamgee.
Sorry. I like Lord of the Rings. I'm not a super fan though.
You know what? Trying to hear you pronounce that might become my new ringtone.
Sam.
You
know, the potato guy. Shut up.
I love potatoes.
Yeah.
We made that joke a while ago. Could you imagine if he had to do that every step of the journey? One more step, it'll be farther from home than I've ever been before. Take a step. One more step, it'll be the farthest I've ever been from home. Oh my god, Samwise, if you're going to do this the entire way to Mount Doom, we will kill you.
We will throw you into Mount Mordor.
Mount Doom.
Mount Doom?
Yes, no? It's...
I didn't think it'd be that on the nose. But...
Yeah, it's Mount Doom, but Mount Doom is in Mordor.
Okay.
God, I don't even love it as much as you do, and I know more about it. Do we need to get Levi back in here?
I really don't like... I like it. I like the movies. I tried with the books. We talked about that in a previous episode.
Oh god, don't get me started on that.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it was very fascinating at the time, but when I ended up reading it because I was really big on the movies, I was just like, dude, no.
Why does it take half a book to set up the fact that we're going on an adventure? Watch, I could do it in like 2 pages. One day, a guy with a magic ring learned he had to destroy it. He learned this because a giant, tall, white-bearded wizard came in and said, "Yo, get your ass out there before I pop you with my stick." So I started walking. Boom! Story started.
Yeah, Magneto showed up in a fake beard and,
yes. It was gray, then it turned white. We think he aged a little bit.
I think he just, was a kill stealer and took down the Balrog and got all the XP.
Well, you see, I was a measly level 10 wizard. Then I became a level 15, got my specialization class, got some new gear, thought I'd teach all y'all asses how it's really done around up in here in Middle-earth. I don't know why I went white gangster on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why is Gandalf suddenly a white kid from the inner cities?
I don't know. Why was the Jewish guy from Manshort's a gangster?
Well, because of the Israeli mafia, I'm telling you, it's a thing.
I love it. I just thought that was just called bankers.
No, there actually is, actual organized crime and not just white-collar crime going on. Yeah.
I did not know that. You know, I know a lot of people used to make the joke that Jews controlled all the money and stuff like that behind the scenes, but I didn't realize there was an actual mafia behind it.
They do not have anything to do with with all that.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, I'd always heard
they do
that, but
they do typical mafia stuff, you know, racketeering, pimping, drug dealing, that sort of thing.
But every Sunday we have a nice mitzvah.
For one, it's Friday night, but...
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Jew, I don't know anything about the culture.
I'm just saying.
But no, you know, I'd always heard a lot, so I'm sorry, religion and other cultures have always fascinated me.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of why I. Ooh. That's kind of why I've explored religion as extensively as I have. Just because it's a fascinating concept. It especially fascinated me when I was a kid because, I was raised atheist. You know.
And we always had amazing religious talks on the way to Hardee's. It was always Hardee's.
At Hardee's, yeah.
I remember in high school we were like, where are we going to go for lunch? I don't know. And then we'd start talking, realize we were on religion, and we'd look at each other and be like, oh, well, I guess
Time
we were
for Hardee's, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we were going to Hardee's.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just start talking. What are we talking about? Video games and comic books. I guess we're going to McDonald's.
Yeah, we can do.
Can we go to Hardee's? No. We it's not that time for that conversation yet.
Yeah, we're not in the right mindset. We're not feeling spiritual enough, I guess.
We just can't do it, Cotton.
Wow.
Shut
Even
up.
your Scottish accent blows.
That was supposed to sound like that. Shut up, Lottie.
Well.
I know, accents are usually a bit more understated, I guess would be the right word I'm thinking of.
Well, it doesn't have to be necessarily practical.
Well, I'm just thinking a lot of times in movies or, any sort of entertainment medium, if they want to use an accent, they usually go way overboard, and I'm fairly certain that's on purpose.
Yeah, like again, I think I've already mentioned that in the Tomb Raider movie, how like Angelina Jolie had a British accent, and Daniel Craig had an American accent. And when they were talking, it sounded like they were mocking each other because they were both so over the top and stupid.
No, I'm sorry. It reminds me of the Highlander. Just Sean Connery, who's supposed to be a Spaniard. Oi, tell me of this Scotland that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, that was like a weird...
Sure?
That was like a weird decision on the casting director's part. Just like, okay, we're going to make a movie called The Highlander. Cool. We're going to have Sean Connery in. Oh, that makes sense. He's a very famous Scotsman. He's going to play a Spaniard, though.
Wait, what? Are we going to get a Mexican to play the Scottish guy now? Ooh, now that you mention it, no!
Antonio Banderas, get him on the line. He's like 12 right now. I don't know, he was probably like close to like his early 20s or so.
Ooh, maybe get like Red Butler then? I don't know. I have a hard time judging actors' age.
Who's Red Butler?
The guy from Gone with the Wind?
I got nothing, man.
He was literally the other main character. There was Scarlett O'Hara and Red Butler. Everyone else doesn't matter. Even the child dies. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a dark movie at times. It was about the Civil War, the Depression, what a person's willing to do to survive, and it's considered one of the greatest movies of all time, and I hate it.
Yeah.
My grandma loved to watch it, and to show you, it's like Braveheart and The Sound of Music. It was one of those you had to have 2 VHSs to watch the movie.
Oh yeah.
And the instant you would put it in, she wouldn't even make it through the credits before she'd pass out because she'd seen it so many times she'd just fall asleep through it. But by God, the instant you hit stop, what the? I was watching that. No, you were sawing logs over it. For God's sakes, you put that back in. It's not even your house.
Yeah, that was kind of how I felt about, to a lesser degree, how I felt about 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like, everyone was toting it along like, it's the greatest sci-fi movie ever. Stanley Kubrick is finest. And I watched it, and I'm like, I mean, it was okay. It was pretty good, yeah.
There was a robot named Hal that killed people. I was kind of into that.
Yeah, Hal was kind of scary, but it wasn't like this epic, mind-blowing thing. What was up with the ending? Why does Stanley Kubrick keep coming up with movies that are awesome, and then the ending is just like, wait, what?
Why does Stanley Kubrick get to keep making his own endings? Hire somebody for this.
I just
Stanley Kubrick, you make a great beginning and middle, but you're fired when it comes to the end. You're not allowed to do it anymore.
Well, and supposedly it was his idea to do the ending for AI, too. Which also was just abysmal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, remind me. Stop the movie 10 minutes before the end
Yeah.
and just walk out the door.
Yeah,
All right, I
yeah,
don't need to
like
see
the minute
anymore.
he finds the statue and just starts like worshiping it or whatever.
We're done. We're good.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. Stop there. Because like Stanley Kubrick just makes really epic movies and then just doesn't know how to end it. So he's like,
So, is he supposed to be like a Shonen Jump writer?
we're
We're gonna make 1,000 episodes.
Well, no,
because
they-
it's good. No, because I don't know how to end it.
Yeah, that's the problem. They just keep going. Like Stanley Kubrick's just like I don't know, like aliens show up and like there's this star baby in the middle of space. I don't. Oh. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Stanley Kubrick, did you stop smoking cocaine by the end of the movie? Maybe that's the problem. He's on so many drugs, the movie's great, but he just burns himself out, or his assistants quit and refuse to get him more, so he dries out, and at the end of the movie he's like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm going through rehab, do whatever the hell you want.
Weirdly enough, I think the best ending he ever had was Eyes Wide Shut, which was a terrible movie itself. Like, the movie itself was god-awful, but the ending actually sealed everything up okay.
So maybe it's not the fact that the ending was good on that, but it was just that the ending matched the rest of the movie.
Yeah, the movie made me think, oh, thank God it's over.
So that was good enough.
I can stop watching, like, what's essentially... It just kind of feels like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's honeymoon footage after a while, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like, it's just like, okay, cool.
I didn't need to hear that.
It's, yeah... I really do, like, recommend Stanley Kubrick as a director, but that one you can skip. You can totally skip. It's like his version of Swept Away. Oh, you know, that Guy Ritchie movie? Guy Ritchie, like, does these really good, really fun gangster movies, and then he made Swept Away, which was just...
Not a gangster movie, so he had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell by the name, it's actually a romance thing with Madonna.
Oh, God, that already sounds terrible.
Well, he was married to Madonna at the time, so...
Sorry.
Yeah. on behalf of everyone everywhere, Guy Ritchie, we're sorry you had to deal with Madonna for as long as you did.
Are you okay? Do you need help? There are people that can help you. There are cult deprogrammers that can help you.
That's not really...
Oh, are cult deprogrammers not a thing?
No, it's not that. It's just she's not a Scientologist.
No, but I mean, I feel like if you like Madonna, it's more of a cult, right?
I mean, it was in the 80s. Nowadays, it's just kind of...
He's been in too long. He doesn't know how to release. So, back to Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, that was quite the tangent.
So, honestly, after Encino Man...
Encino Man was...
For the longest time, he did almost nothing but comedy, I think. If he did anything else, I personally didn't know about it.
Well, I mean, he was an excellent straight man. Even technically in Encino Man, like bouncing off Pauly Shore, everyone's the straight man.
Yeah,
Because...
it's kind of like how they said about Trump in the elections. Everyone wants to be a right wing, but when Trump goes to the 1,000th degree, everybody looks normal compared to that. Yeah. It's kind of like with Pauly Shore. You can't be crazier than Pauly Shore because Pauly Shore is the defining definition of crazy.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan, but I will admit Encino Man was fun. Because, like, he was balanced out really well by Sean Astin and Brendan Fraser, of course.
And can I just say, now that I think about it, Sean
Astin.
Astin. I keep wanting to say Aniston, but that is not right. Astin.
Yeah.
Aston Martin.
Yeah.
So Sean Astin.
That's how I remember. But
have you noticed he always makes like the greatest sidekick in any movie he's in?
Not 50 First Dates, but go on.
Even then, he makes Adam Sandler look normal. Hey, I'm wanting to get buff and use steroids, and I have wet dreams. Yeah, that's crazy, but not near as crazy as the guy who's gaslighting a girl who forgets who you are every day. Because if you really think about it, how is that not stalking?
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, it seems like a cute romantic movie, and then you, like, look at it, and you're like, he's taking advantage of a disabled girl.
Yeah, so again, yeah, Sean Astin, you're weird, but you kind of balance it, like, because if you just have, like, a mountain range that's crazy of Adam Sandler, then it looks really bad. But it's okay, because partway down the mountain, there's a ledge that's Sean Astin that's also crazy, but not near as bad, so you kind of have a jumping point to make it seem less weird.
Yeah,
I guess.
To be fair, that was kind of the whole thing about, like, 50 First Dates, like, it is something I don't think any of the cast is proud of. Like, Blake Clark was okay, because, like, he actually is, like, a really good... he's a really good, like, just crotchety old guy, but well-meaning.
When I was younger, I enjoyed the movie, and then I unfortunately watched, like, Nostalgia Critic and learned to really look behind the scenes of the story they're telling you, and I realized, my God, this is a horrible movie. At least if you were to take it in real life. If you were to read this story in a newspaper that, had to condense it down to, like, 3 paragraphs to tell you what was going on, oh God, this is terrible. Why is he not in jail?
Yeah.
Why is this father allowed to keep taking care of his daughter? He has been gaslighting her every day for like 4 years.
Yeah.
One of these days, and even Adam Sandler points it out in the movie, what's going to happen one day when she turns on the light, looks in the mirror, and all of a sudden she's 15, 20 years older? Yeah. He goes, I worry about that.
Oh, it's something I worry about, let me tell you.
Are you going to do anything about it?
Yeah.
What happens when you die? She's going to wake up one day and you're just dead? Well, that's not my problem anymore now, is it? I feel like...
We'll leave that up to the buff Samwise in the other room there.
Oh God, I forgot. He actually was buff in that.
Yeah, he must have done a lot of working out for that.
I wonder if was that around the time of Lord of the Rings? Could it have been from all the carrying, carrying Frodo throughout the whole movie? Sam, how did you get so buff? I had to carry this dead weight for a few thousand.
50 Elijah Wood presses a day. It's the Peter Jackson diet.
Oh, man. I ate unleavened elven bread. What was that? I think it was just a saltine cracker he sprinkled crack on. I don't know. He actually thought we were real elves for a short time.
But you were hobbits. I know, that's the weird part.
I don't know. Peter Jackson seems like he could be insane. He makes amazing worlds, and I feel like you can only do that if you're not truly grounded in this one.
You know who else makes amazing worlds? Stephen King, James Cameron, Stanley Kubrick. Note they're all batshit butt-fucking insane.
Why is butt-fucking insane? Have you ever wondered about that terminology?
I guess the only director that's really butt-fucking insane is Joel Schumacher, but...
Is that something I'm supposed to understand? That kind of went over my head.
Joel Schumacher's gay.
Oh, okay, there you go. See, that makes perfect sense to me. But back to Encino Man. But Encino Man, yeah, I agree. Sean Astin is a very down to earth, and he is perfect in everything he does. With kind of, his characters always grow, and I love that about him.
He's really good at supporting characters. Yeah.
Well, like in the very beginning of, like, let's say Lord of the Rings, Frodo is very, I wouldn't say extremely confident, but he's like, you know what, Gandalf said to go over here, and if Gandalf believes in me, I can do it. And in order to offset that really positive energy, here comes Samwise. He's kind of jittery, really nervous. He balances.
This will be the furthest I've ever gone from home.
Yeah, and then by the end of the movie, Frodo's getting weak. He doesn't think he can do it. He's kind of going insane from the burden and all of it. And in order to overcome his weakness, Samwise at that point had gotten very strong. He had gotten a lot more confident. He was at the end of, I think it was the second movie when Frodo tried to leave everybody and Sam was just walking there, hell no, I won't go.
Oh yeah.
Just very, he is perfect at balancing out a movie, because you can have your highs and your lows, but it balances out because Sean Astin is amazing at that, and he
Right.
can really offset Pauly Shore, and I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah. And that was another thing. Yes, he did grow. Like, originally he was just like, I want to be popular and date a hot chick and stuff like that. And by the end of it, he learns to care not only for Link, which was Brendan Fraser's character in the Brendan Fraser
caveman,
episode.
yeah.
I forgot about that. But
You'd think
also,
I wouldn't. I'm a huge Zelda nerd.
also Stoney and who was Pauly Shore, and even a little bit more about himself.
Yeah.
So, like,
Can I? And this might just be me, but is Pauly Shore less annoying in that movie?
I feel like it's less that he's less annoying and more that he's with people who can really balance that out. Again, he's with Sean Astin, who's like the ultimate supporting cast.
True. And Brendan Fraser, who is physically wacky but never says anything, where Pauly Shore, his wackiness comes from his his
Dialogue and the juices,
and clothes.
buddy.
Yeah, his clothes and his voice is what really makes him stand out.
Yeah.
And Brendan Fraser's just bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, so they actually make a really good comedic duo in short doses. And I think they actually do balance it out to where, like, you get your wacky, cartoony stuff. And then, like, later on, like, oh, hey, we're back to the main plot.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like in Son-in-Law, the reason he was that much more annoying is they basically said, okay, you're going from California
To, like,
downtown.
Ohio?
Something like that.
Ohio or
like-
India? Indiana.
Well, I was going to say maybe even Colorado. One of the, like, Bible Belt states. It's
Yeah.
massive farm
There
country.
totally should have been a Pauly Shore movie where he went to India, but...
Nah, Pauly Shore in Amish country now.
Well, I feel like
think they
that'd
would've
just be
stoned him.
son-in-law too, but...
But no, they basically said, okay, you're the main character, the camera's going to be on you 99% of the time, and we want you to turn your Pauly Shore-ness up to 11.
Yeah. Well, I mean... And on another note, like, there's also Biodome with Stephen Baldwin. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet. I've seen reviews of it.
Well, the
but-
problem is, the whole movie, this guy, this Stephen Baldwin, is trying to out Pauly Shore throughout the whole movie.
Is that even possible?
He's trying so hard. But, I just kind of feel like that's like, okay, stop. I swear I will turn this movie around.
I wish you had.
I feel like I have just a mom with two kids in the back seat, just like, no, stop!
Steve, do something! So help me God!
Buddy. Oh, fuck, not that. Anything but that.
Let's get some chillage. Oh God, no! I'm
No,
divorcing.
no.
You know what? No, I'm grabbing the wheel now. I'm pulling us into incoming traffic.
I've never divorced my children before, but I'm going to. I don't think... No, I guess there's disowning, so...
Yeah, I guess. But in the long run, you'd just rather murder them. Because you know that way at least they're not out there terrorizing the world at large. And you don't have to feel guilty with that weight of sin on your chest.
I mean, maybe, but...
So...
But no, But yeah, like Encino Man actually works really well for that. It balances out the goofy stuff with like actual plot progression and character development.
And honestly, in all of his comedy movies, I notice a pattern. Because you have Encino Man, and then not long after, he went to Monkey Bone.
Monkey Bone, I really liked Monkey Bone as a kid.
Do you know who voiced Monkey Bone?
I actually should have looked it up, but
Because
that was one of those things as a kid. I really liked the creepy, spooky, like Tim Burton thing, as well as
yeah.
like doofy, gross out slapstick like Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy.
And Whoopi Goldberg was in it before she, I guess, went on to The View and became insane.
I'm pretty sure Whoopi Goldberg was insane before that, but at least entertaining.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I enjoyed the movie. Just all that wacky stuff kind of reminded me of... I think a lot of that stuff they might have gotten from, like, the animations of Monty Python and the Monty Python sketches,
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so if we take some of these sketches and try to turn them 3D, what would you get? And I feel like that would be an amazing representation of that.
I guess.
It's like, I feel like it's a mix between that and Greek mythology. Because you notice there's a lot of Cyclopses, there's the Minotaur.
There's definitely
Hypnos.
a lot of symbolism, like the main bad guy. If you were to pick a main bad guy, it'd
would be the
probably
Faun.
the satyr.
Yeah. The Hypnos,
Yeah.
the god of dreams,
Yeah.
which was a Greek god. So there was...
your initial thought was that he kind of just looked like Tim Curry in, like, heavy makeup.
Which would have
But
been
then
kind
he
of hilarious.
started talking, and we were like, oh no, that's not him. He's actually Afro-Cuban.
I would have been a lot happier if he was Tim Curry. Then again, I could replace literally any... If I had a superpower, I want to be able to watch any movie in the world and replace at least one character with Tim Curry at all times and see what happens.
9 to 5, but Dolly Parton's been replaced by Tim Curry.
Not even all the main characters. I would not mind if some, like, side character, kind of like...
Well, I mean, he was more or less just a bit character in Home Alone 2. But he was the best part of Home Alone 2.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to... I want to have the powers of, like, Stan Lee in the Marvel movies. At least once a movie you go through and, oh my god, there's Tim Curry as he goes by. Kind of like what, the guy who did The Birds, he used to do.
Oh, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, he used to do that a lot in his movies. He would have, like, a 2-second cameo. Like in The Birds, I think he was walking his dog. And that was it. That was literally his whole cameo was... walking from one side of the screen to the other, walking a dog.
Yeah, Stephen King does that too.
Yeah. He even gives himself a speaking line.
Yeah, usually.
Whether he should or not.
Yeah, he's kind of a jumpy little man, isn't he?
You know, for somebody who writes horror the way he does, he seems...
Oh, and he was also in Monkey Bone.
Oh my god, I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, because there actually is a conspiracy theory that he actually died in that car crash from like the late 80s or so and got replaced by someone else.
Apparently a cat. No, it was a dog.
Yeah, Cujo, according to Monkey Bone. But
man's best friend, my ass.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It's sort of similar to the whole Paul is dead conspiracy theory.
But it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the movie. It had some interesting concepts. You would think the fact that a dead man got up and ran all over town would have made really big news. No, never mentioned.
It may not have been Brendan Fraser's high point in his career, but it certainly was Chris Kattan's high point.
I feel like I have seen him in other things. He looks familiar.
Yeah, he was actually in quite a few things in like the early 2000s, late 90s, because he was another one of those Saturday Night Live alumni that everybody wanted in their comedy movie. And he just wasn't good. He was in Corky Romano. He was Corky Romano.
So he's one of those people, and I learned this by watching like old Vine. In case some of you people don't remember, Vines were short little videos that couldn't be longer than I think 15 seconds.
It was basically TikTok before a bunch of annoying teenagers took over.
But I've seen people who went from Vine to YouTube, and their stuff was amazing on Vine. They perfected the 10-second clip. It was wonderful. It was funny. It got to the point. You didn't need any background information. Everything was there for you to understand.
And then, like, when you go from, like, 30 seconds to about 10 minutes, like, the Water Malone guy's just not knowing what to do.
Marlon Webb.
I always call him the Water Malone guy.
It's Water Malone!
Yeah.
Well, I loved Marlon Webb. He was one of my
good.
top people. Yeah.
And I can't imagine him doing particularly well on YouTube.
He was on there, he was doing like a 45-second clip, and the whole time I'm watching it, he got to the point. It's like he took one of his 15 seconds clips and then just filled it with filler, because, like I said, he had done that for years, and then after that, it got painful to watch, because I'm like, dude, you could have cut out that and that and that and been done.
It would have been funnier, yeah.
Yeah. But that was the thing. There are people, like stand-up comedians. They are hilarious because, like I said, they understand the flow.
Have you seen a Rodney Dangerfield movie? Any Rodney Dangerfield movie? Like, his stand-up was amazing for its time, I promise, but anytime he's in an actual film, unless he's like in a really brief cameo, like in Little Nicky, it worked. Because he was like, oh, let me tell you, I created hell because I thought of my ex-wife. Kind of reminds me, like, he just did, like, basically his stand-up session.
Yeah.
For, like, a minute or two, and then he's off screen.
Yeah.
And I like to think afterwards he just, oh, God, I need a smoke and I need a shot right now.
And my paycheck before you realize how bad I am.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, there's a reason why some people, maybe the guy from Monkey Bone who played the dead guy, what you say his name was?
Chris Kattan, he started in Saturday Night Live. He was pretty good as far as, like,
short skits.
Yeah, he worked in, like, quick 5-minute segments where you're like, that's a goofy guy, and then you move along with your life.
But that's the thing, you also have to realize there's a tolerance that people can have. Yeah, you might be goofy,
yeah,
but people can only handle so much of that before it gets on their nerves and it goes from goofy to being just annoying and get the hell out of my face.
Well, and certain SNL alumni can make it into a film, like Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Tina Fey,
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell's, depends from person
some
to
of
person.
his movies.
Yeah.
Not Aubrey Plaza, Leslie Knope. Because she was an
Amy
SNL.
Poehler.
Yeah. Because she was an SNL alumni,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that. See,
she did the Weekend Update. She was really good at it, too.
And I have never sat down and actually watched a single episode of SNL. I know about them, and of course, everyone on the planet knows about More Cowbell.
Yeah.
But honestly...
that was with Will Ferrell as well, and Christopher Walken.
But I never had Satellite or Comedy Central growing up, so I never got to watch SNL.
Yeah.
So now that I'm older and I don't know where to start, because SNL started in, like, what, the mid-60s?
More like the late 70s, but it was a ways back.
Yeah.
And I can understand being a little intimidated, but let me tell you, it's kind of like getting a comic book. You have, like, so much lore to go through.
So just start from the beginning and work your way forward?
No, God, no. Like, start with something that sounds good, like, maybe the special guest really sounds cool, or maybe you want to see, like, a performance from a band that's on. Like, you can do that. Maybe you want to check out those Jim Henson sketches that he did.
You say that. Wasn't he only in, like, a single episode and then was so bad they're like, yeah, don't come back?
Yeah.
About the ones that Steven Seagal actually got up and directed, where I think he did too, and then they told him not to come back, but you set foot on the premises and we'll have you arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Chevy Chase, because he's not allowed back on there either, because...
He's an asshole.
Yeah, just a complete asshole.
Like, nobody wants to work with him.
Which seems odd. He was so good in the National Lampoon movies. He was funny. I thought it was great. I didn't realize he was that big of a dick.
He was really good on SNL, too. But, just because you're a good actor doesn't make you a good person.
I mean, this is true.
As we've found out with Mel Gibson.
Say that. I loved him in a lot of his... Back in the 80s and 90s, he made some amazing movies.
Like, I have nothing nice to say about the man himself, but like Mad Max, though.
Do you just say that because you're Jewish now?
No. I'm saying that because he's a fucking asshole.
I know. See, I haven't heard he's an asshole. I just heard he is just, as we said so eloquently before, batshit but fucking insane.
Correct, but at the same time, he's also... Whereas, like, a lot of directors, like Stanley Kubrick, is also supposedly an asshole, but, well, was. But it was more like his means of... I want to get this just right. I want to get this perfect. I want to film Tom Cruise walking through a door literally from the time we start filming to the end of the day, just to make sure I get it right.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, he is
perfectionist.
particular. But he does so in a way that he hopes will make a better final product.
Whereas some
Dan
people
Harmon's
are just
the
assholes
same
to
way.
assholes.
Like, he's a perfectionist. He gets mad at his actors because they don't do things as well as they can. Meanwhile, Mel Gibson's just an asshole in general. Like, he does it for no benefit, no gain. You know, and I can't really... That's beyond reproach to me.
I understand.
But at the same time, like, some of the things he is in, like Braveheart, Mad Max, are really, really good.
God, I loved Braveheart back in the day. It was my favorite movie for a long time.
Yeah, who didn't like Braveheart in the 90s, man?
Yeah, come on. It was a guy standing up to the British, giving them the middle finger. Any red-blooded American, he's not American, but you know what? Somebody give him a green card. He's American today.
Yeah, he's
Woo!
officially an American citizen. We did it for Lemmy Kilmister, we'll do it for this guy.
Oh, look at that. They're even mooning all the Brits. Woo, you go Scots people.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that you're wearing skirts, but woo, go for it.
Yeah, totally. Like, there was a lot going on that was just really fun. And, of course, the action sequences were really, really good. And, yeah, he did a really good job as Angus MacLeod. I don't know.
Oh, the brave...
I totally forgot his name.
Oh my god, I just did too. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's, oh god, all I can think of is Highlander and very made-up Scottish names.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I assure you his name
William
was not...
Wallace.
William Wallace, yeah.
Aye.
Which is also an extremely Scottish name,
But still.
not quite as cartoony as Angus MacLeod.
MacLeod, from the clan MacLeod.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody thought that and thought they were very clever and patted themselves on the back.
Yeah.
MacLeod from the clan MacLeod.
Sort of like in Dharma and Greg, Fergus Montgomery.
Wow.
That is extremely Scottish, yes.
Alright, so, but the point I was trying to
Right.
make, the point I was trying to make is you can, like SNL, you can do goofy and off the wall and still be a great movie because, you know, Brendan Fraser did it in Encino Man, Monkey Bone, even in Bedazzled. He gets thrown in these very odd situations and he just rolls with it and he's goofy and
He's like
weird.
a really excellent straight man.
Exactly. And even though he's goofy and weird, he does take it to extremes, but in very short bursts, and then make sure to reel it back in before it gets annoying. Because that's the thing. If you can reset people's emotion back to baseline, then things that were goofy, that would get into annoying, you kind of, it almost resets how long they can deal with it.
Yeah. That was something I really liked. And if you notice, like, his supporting actors tend to be, like, really big and over the top. So
that he doesn't have to be.
Yeah, like Elizabeth Hurley was just this oozing sex appeal of a woman back in the day.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it came out when I was 13. It is embedded into my memory because...
You'll never
Hurley,
forget
man.
that red dress of hers, will you?
Oh, my God. But, anyway, before
Do I need
this
to
becomes...
get you a napkin?
You don't understand. Like, you had a bit of a thing for the chick from The Mummy, but for me it was like Liz Hurley, man. So basically, we're both very jealous of Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just was this big, over-the-top character, and it worked out really well because, like, Brendan Fraser was this corny, like, very vanilla white guy. And it just made things like they created a really good duo together. And you start to notice that, yeah, with Pauly Shore, he's not quite as sexy, but at the same time,
it worked.
Yeah, because he's this big over-the-top personality. And in Monkey Bone, it kind of felt like, I don't know the actor who played him, but it was supposed to be an amalgamation of that guy's mind.
Oh yeah, like the insanity that was in him, his what am I thinking of? His id, his ego, his super ego. The part of us that we're supposed to keep suppressed in normal society.
What you're thinking of is
himself.
definitely the id, because he's very animalistic. He's literally an animal. But
he does whatever he wants, and a lot of his stuff is very sexualized in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're supposed to keep that suppressed in everyday society.
Of course. And like that is kind of Brendan Fraser's character being the superego. And I think that's why at the end it kind of worked out, because like they kind of got combined and became a normal ass human being.
Yeah, they did kind of go through the fact that he had to do a lot of therapy growing up until very recently because he was having trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
His artwork was very...
Yeah, he actually was planning on marrying the doctor that was treating him for that. So,
But, they liked each other, and she seemed awfully nice.
yeah. She was great. Don't get me wrong.
Other than her medical practice of, hey, this guy's in a coma, let's inject weird drugs into him, see if he wakes up.
Yeah. Well, it was a certain type of drug that would have given him a heart attack, but...
Yes. Well, you know what? His sister's going to kill him? Not on my watch, not if I kill him first.
That was another weird thing. Like, all the characters were, like, weird. Like, not necessarily horrible characters, they just seemed incredibly unrealistic.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, honestly, the characters inside the coma were, like, way more realistic and down to earth.
Yeah, they seem to relate more.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in the real world, all the actual people, seem to be more
cartoony than the actual
yeah,
cartoon
that's kind of what I was
characters.
thinking of. So you know how in like children's cartoons, everybody's basically embodies like a single characteristic, and they base everything around that. It's kind of what I felt like. His sister, her only purpose in the whole show was, I need to pull the plug on Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
the whole point of Brendan Fraser's friend was, we need to make a lot of money because I'm greedy.
Yeah. What was his name? Like Terry or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was very weird. And I've never seen Brendan Fraser in anything other than sort of comedy, goofy. And like we said, even in The Mummies, it was a lot of comedy mixed in with the action. So
yeah.
he still shined.
Yeah.
So when we went to go watch...
That's another like really great thing. He's balancing really well off of Emotep being like... Emotep's a character, man. He doesn't even have that many lines, but...
And the amazing thing is I heard some behind-the-scenes stuff, like, you know the scene where Imhotep opens up the door, he's supposed to part the curtains, and there's Anak Sunamun, his girl, waiting for him? Yeah, so apparently one day... Brendan Fraser isn't even supposed to be on set. Imhotep throws open the doors, pulls the curtain aside, and there's Brendan Fraser in the Anak Sunamun outfit.
Oh my god.
And the guy playing Imhotep just starts dying laughing. He cannot hold it in. And Brendan Fraser turns and goes, yeah, that was my best day of filming ever. When he was supposed to be there, best day of the shoot.
I kind of wish there were photos of him wearing all the like body paint and stuff.
I don't know how far he went. I'm just imagining him standing there. Imhotep walks in going, huh, that's weird. That girl looks a bit taller and broader than I remember, just turning around and boom, Brendan Fraser.
How's it going?
And the fact that that's who Brendan Fraser is, just, it makes my day. I love this movie.
Like, Brendan Fraser actually does, weirdly enough, he plays a really excellent straight man, but, like, in real life, from what I understand, he's, like, really fun to be around.
And which is honestly why, probably, one of the main reasons why, when we went to go watch The Whale, it hit me as hard as it does. Because you go in, you're expecting... He's done kind of serious movies before, but I've never seen him. Never. He doesn't break into a smile. He doesn't crack a joke. He is deadly serious the whole movie.
Yeah,
and it is a very serious situation as it is.
Yeah, it honestly, it kind of shook me a little bit. Just because when I was about 19 or 20... I ended up taking care of one of my grandparents who just got out of the surgery. He was very morbidly obese, and it just kind of like, it like brought back a bunch of repressed memories. So it's kind of speaking on how like serious of a situation it was. Like, I felt bad for the guy. I realized there's not a whole lot I can do without him being able to do something.
It honestly, partway through the movie, I thought you were gonna get up and walk out or break into tears.
Yeah, it hit me hard, man.
This honestly, people, this is the highest recommendation we can give for a movie.
I never want to watch it again, but it did exactly what it was planning on doing. It is a very sad tale about a man with a morbid obesity and a broken heart.
Yeah, and walking out of the theater, I was crushed. And as I'm leaving the theater, the one thought that I had just crystal clear was, well, I am never going to watch this movie again. But holy crap, it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, it's an excellent film, but God, I am not watching it again.
If we're going to watch that thing again, there's going to... Oh God, no. We could not do that in one sitting again.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, my God.
Like, we're going to have to, like, take a moment, like, smoke some weed. I don't even really like smoking that much, but it's going to have to happen.
I don't know. Maybe have a second TV there with, like, cartoons playing. Oh, God, I can't believe what's going on. Oh, just look, there's Scooby-Doo. Unfortunately, I feel like a third of the way through the movie, we're going to purposefully be ignoring. No, there's only one TV here. There's no super sad movie over here.
Yeah, during that, like, third act when it gets really confrontational with everyone, I just kind of like, I don't know, I kind of want to play, like, some videos of kittens and stuff on my phone or whatever.
Kittens playing, dolphins and dogs becoming friends, a monkey petting.
Because it's heartbreaking. It really is.
Oh, man.
And for me, like, and you, that's never really been the type of movie we want to watch.
No, yeah, we've always been, high on life, comedy, just...
Yeah, or, like, to the point, for me personally, it's usually, like, horror movies, they're so bad, they're practically comedies.
Yeah. So, if you have a chance to watch it, do, but make sure you definitely have some Kleenex near you. Do not watch it alone, and just... Yeah. Oh man, keep happy thoughts. Keep happy thoughts. Don't go into a wrist cutting contest or something after this. I feel like bad things are gonna happen.
Yeah, like try to keep, like, I don't know, some ferret pictures on standby or something.
Land sharks.
Yeah.
No, carpet sharks. That's what they're called. I was going through TikTok. I think it was yesterday, and Brendan Fraser won an award for that movie. He should win all sorts of awards for doing that movie. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
And even he, just talking about the movie and what he experienced and what he knew people were going through, just broke down at the Academy Awards and was crying on camera, holding his award. Oh, yeah. And just like, please be there for somebody and help them and just, oh God.
Well, because, I mean, we watched it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it, like, really actually hit us. Imagine doing that every day for at least a month or two.
No thanks.
Yeah, no. I feel for the man. He's very dedicated to his craft.
That he is. Alright, well, honestly, this has been our salute to Brendan Fraser. I hope nothing happens to him after his departure for unsavory reasons. I'd rather not go into, because I really don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, it's honestly kind of hard to say, but I still think he's a brilliant actor, and there actually have been a lot of brilliant actors who been forgiven because they're so good.
Yeah. Well, no,
I don't know what's going on.
He didn't do... So, just very basic, what I've heard.
What you know, and I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, the way I heard it, he was sexually assaulted by somebody very high in the industry. He, a lot of people had been, but because he was so high up, nobody was willing to say anything for fear of losing their job. He blew the whistle. He got blacklisted from Hollywood, and that's just a very broad things of what I heard. Okay. I hope it's not true. I would hate to think someone like him had to go through something like that to do what he loves to do.
Hence why his next role would be a very indie film called that like premiered on Sundance, and really mainstream Hollywood had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. But he's done a couple of movies. He left back in like 2014. He came back in 2019. So there was like good 5 years where no, and then he exploded back on the scene. Not because he was doing something grand, but because after everything that happened, he was going to places and people were just coming to him and were so moved that he was willing to do what nobody else was. They were giving just such overwhelming support for Brendan Fraser. It was very heartening to see. It's things like that that give me hope in humanity.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. It's unfortunate what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think as long, like what I was saying, like with Mel Gibson or Dan Harmon, stuff like that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't always matter what happened. In his case, he's completely innocent, so there is a difference there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as long as you're really good at your trade, you will continue to have a career.
Mm-hmm.
And Brendan Fraser, at the end of the day, is an amazing actor. He's a man with a lot of personality. He works really well with people, from what I understand. Not only that, he's not a jerk. He's actually a really nice guy, from everything I know.
Oh, yeah.
So
this has been our tribute to Brendan Fraser. May he live long and prosper and make more movies to make us laugh.
Yeah, boy.
Spock sign.
Yeah, you can't tell. I held up the whole Spock piece thing, but...
You know, I actually heard that a lot of people can't do that for some reason.
Really?
I think it's something about the ability to move like the middle finger and the ring finger separately.
I remember the whole Dane Cook thing is sort of set up similarly, and people had a hard time with that. But I could get that because it kind of tugs on a muscle that I don't really understand.
Yeah, well, it's just like Terry
time.
Crews. How is it that he can flex his pecs and most people can't?
That's due to a lot of hard work.
Yeah, so it's just that he learned how to tap into that muscle. So we can't do it. So I can shake my shoulders and flop my man titties around because I'm overweight.
Just swaying to and fro in the wind.
Yeah. So, Brendan Fraser, we hope you keep doing this for a long time. Know that we support you.
We love
Millions
you.
of people support you. Yeah.
We are sorry about what happened, and we hope you can get back to doing what you love doing, that you're good at doing, and that's something we love you doing.
Yeah. So, from all of us at Alleyway both of us at Alleyway Conversations.
I don't know, Levi might agree with us.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
he's basically our third Alleyway Conversations member at this point.
I mean, he's been on 2 episodes. That's more than anybody else.
Yeah, fair enough. But we've only had one other guest star.
True. So, we'll work on that. So, once again, this has been Andrew.
And this has been Patrick.
And we'll see you next time.